I want to talk about this offensive line. Arguably the greatest offensive line ever to play together. I've seen this picture of the four of you, 4 of the 5 in the Pro Bowl. Man, unbelievable. Let's start with the Hall of Famer, memories of Dan Dierdorf.
Well, Dan, and I got, again, nothing but respect for Dan. Yesterday was actually his birthday, and I called him and talked to him. And just a great guy. Came out of a great program. He learned a lot at Michigan where he played, and he would tell you, Dan may be the strongest supporter of Jim Hannafin of all of us. He just respected him so much, and I loved playing with Dan because, again, when he and Jackie Smith were on that side by side out there at tackle and tight end, you know things were going to get done because those two just gave you everything they had. And I love playing with Dan.
The legendary Conrad Dobler.
He's still a legend in his own mind. Great guy. And, Dan and I never had a problem with Conrad because we just tell him to shut up. But he'd pull all that old I'm Conrad Dobler stuff on everybody else, and they were kind of taken aback by it. But Dan and I remembered him when he was a rookie, and Conrad will always be one of my best friends. I love him. He's going through some tough physical problems right now, but great guy. And Conrad had been a defensive lineman in college. He had no idea about any kind of technique as far as blocking, and he finally figured out if I kick the guy's ass across from me, somebody's going to pat me on the back and say good things about me. So that's what I'm going to do every play. And that's the way he approached it. He didn't know nothing about coming off the ball or how to use his hands or his feet, but he knew he could beat on a guy. And once he did that, they'd be more worried about him than they were about making the play.
What was it like watching game film and watching Conrad get in the guy's head and protect your quarterback?
Well, my best example was when Merlin Olsen. And Merlin was a great player. He was in like 13 Pro Bowls. Great player. But Conrad just beat him and beat him and beat him. And finally, Merlin took himself out of the game. Now, this is like in the 70s, man. You did not do this. You never left the game. Plus, this guy is the ultimate Pro Bowl guy, and he takes himself out of the game. I mean, I'm 2 feet away from Conrad, and I'm watching this whole beating that he put on Merlin, and I'm telling you, it was a thing of beauty. For an offensive lineman, you don't get that kind of a chance very often, but it was something else.
He made several Pro Bowls. He was
yeah.
And that's voted on by players.
That's when the players voted on it, and Conrad was in 3 in a row. And our offensive line at that time really started getting some recognition. We led the league in rushing. We led the league in the least number of sacks given up, and we led the league in time of possession. You look at those things, and we had a couple of good running backs, Jim Otis and Terry Metcalf, but we had.
Hey, it all started with you guys.
Oh, without a doubt, and those guys knew it, and I just felt so fortunate to play with those guys because we tell you what, we had some fun. Yeah. That was a great time, Brad.
Your other guard, All-Pro Bob Young, kind of gets lost in the group, but man, he was something.
Well, I'll tell you how I feel about Bob Young. My son, who's in the Air Force now, is Bob Banks, named after Bob Young. When Bob Young and I were such good friends. He was just one of the finest people I've ever been around. And he died way too young at 52. But when he died, I decided then I was going to name my son after him. And we did. Robert Allen Banks. Proud to say that.
Bob Young was one of the first guys to get into weightlifting. And that was his game was strength, and he would just maul you.
He was he had a lot of good technique also, but his strength is really what his game was about. And he first went to the University of Texas is where he got involved with the weights, and ended up at Sam Houston State, I believe. But he Yeah, he just realized he could do a lot more damage if he was stronger than the guy across from him. So that's the way he approached it.
Across the board with Conrad, just getting in the guy's head and beating him mentally, where you've got Bob on the other side, which is beating you physically. It was an interesting crew you had.
Oh yeah, that's the truth. And one guy that doesn't get he gets forgotten sometimes is our left tackle was Roger Finney. And Roger had been a defensive lineman like Conrad was. But when we got him from the Jets, our defensive coaches didn't they were going to let him go. And Hannafin went to Coach Coryell and said, let me have a shot with this guy. And he liked the way he moved his feet. He liked his hand-eye coordination. And he taught Roger how to play offensive tackle, and he became a really good player for us. So the five of us together, we actually played together for 5 years, and that was really our best time together.